Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back here on the bridge, and today, yes, we got some things to go over from the Star Trek Online X feed, so on screen. Yes, captains, before we get into this video, do us a huge favor, hit that like button to help this video, but to help the overall channel out. Also, if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing here to the YouTube bridge, where we're always on the lookout for like-minded captains to share our love, passion for Star Trek Online, but also things Star Trek. Now with that said, here we go. Yes, captains, we're going to drop the ECs on this, a little more than ECs than usual for a particular blog, but that's because what I want to do in this video is give my top 5 legendary bundles. So we'll start with the actual blog here. So over time, some ships in Star Trek universe have truly earned legendary status. The legendary bundles in Star Trek Online are now 35% off on PC. So you can see here the blog. I've always loved this image, this wallpaper, just because it's so well done in my opinion. But again, 35% off on PC. This of course will probably most likely follow suit on the console bridge. So for my console caps who are waiting for a legendary sale, this still applies to you. But here we go. So captains, the ships of Star Trek are a character unto themselves, and we find ourselves attached to the ships that have become legendary. Now you can own those legendary ships for a lot cheaper. So from May 21st to the 26th, so that is a Monday if I'm not mistaken, you can save 35% on all legendary bundles we've ever released, including the 10 ship legendary bundle. That's right, the anniversary bundle is back for limited time. Captains, get your hands on the ships that have come with every look, trait, and console that had ever been released for them up to the point of their initial sale, and take a captain up to level 65 instantly. So again, that is going to be up until the 26th, and the drop of this video, this already started yesterday. But what I want to do now is give my top 5, like I said. And sometimes the reason is not necessarily because it's going to be a meta ship. No, none of these ships, to be honest, have been a reason for me to grab because they're meta ships. I wanted them because I just wanted them, to be honest with you, Cap. So we'll start with this first, which is this ship right here, which is probably the most expensive of my recommendations. That's why we're going with this first. So this is the legendary Romulan Captain Bundle, which only comes with one ship, which is the Taliss. Now, the reason why I love this ship is 2 things. Visually, it's because of this right here, because this is what was seen on Picard, a retrofitted Taliss. I think it's awesome, to be honest with you. It looks really good and is one of my favorite skins in Star Trek Online, especially for a Romulan ship. Now, this is 12,000 Zen. With the sale, it is 7,800 if I'm not mistaken. Now, again, it's probably the most expensive, but the other reason why I want to recommend this is the actual trait. I mean, the ship itself is great. Performance-wise, I've been able to get a great deal of performance from this. I mean, it has a Commander Tactical Intelligence and a Command Lieutenant Commander. So you can still get a good scatter volley build on this and go ham. But one of my favorite traits, and since I'm a Torp boat captain first and foremost, one of the traits that I love in game is this, the Assault Formation Theta. So upon reaching level 6 in this Starship Mastery, you will unlock the Assault Formation Theta Starship trait for all characters on your account. That's one of the great reasons why this is also one of the recommendations as well. You can get that trait on all of your tunes on your account. While this trait is slotted, when you activate Attack Pattern Omega or Decloak. Now, Attack Pattern Omega, one of my favorite powers to use, so this gets a lot of use out of it. Your starship will gain a significant boost to a turn rate and starship weapon amplification. You will also gain a torpedo high yield 3. Not only do I get a high yield 3 torp, but I get the benefits of Attack Pattern Omega, and that's why I like it. Again, the visual variant is the Taliss Refit 2399 era, as seen in Star Trek Picard. Beautiful, beautiful skin. I love the actual nacelles on this. And of course, the other included events is all, or variants you should see, is all here. So that's the first recommendation, is that. Now the second is this, the Legendary Romulan Warbird bundle. Now in this particular bundle, you get 3 ships for the same price of 12,000. Why do I say 3 ships? Well, because you see the Scimitar and you see the Derpadex or the Didaridex. But in this bundle, you also get 1 coupon for a C-Store ship, a T6 C-Store ship. So again, with the sale 35% off, this goes down to 7,800 for this bundle. Or the way that I like to look at it is each ship will cost you 2,600 Zen. And that is less than a full-priced T6 starship of 3,000 Zen. And again, you get these great ships. Now, first ship here is the Scimitar. A lot of people love Scimitars, and my Romulan main has mained this ship for a long time, the Scimitar. And of course, when I got the Legendary came out, I put him in to this ship. Now, this is a great ship in my opinion. The specialization is Intel and also Command. So again, you can get a great scatter volley build on this, which is all the rage nowadays. But the trait itself is pretty good. When I say pretty good, it's because I love how it's referencing, of course, the line from Nemesis, and that's what it's called, She's a Predator. So upon reaching level 6 in this Starship Mastery, you'll unlock the She's a Predator trait for all characters on your account. While this trait is slotted, activating any attack pattern ability heals you for a percentage of your max health, grants damage equal to your ambush bonus, and reduces your own cloak cooldown. This can only happen once per several seconds. For newer captains, this is probably a great trait for a placeholder, but I just love the trait again because of the reference. Now, for the Legendary Scimitar, you also get this skin, which is quite the Talshir Adapted Dreadnought Warbird. As you can see, it's kind of a Borgified looking scimitar. Some captains really love the look of this, but again, the Scimitar is one of the iconic ships of Star Trek, in my opinion. So you get that, and here's the other variants that you get as well. And of course, the other ship that comes with this is the Derpadex. So it is the Didaridex Miracle Worker Warbird Battle Cruiser. Classic. So I grew up in the TNG era, so classic ship. Did not hesitate to get this. In terms of its actual specialization, so a Commander Engineering Miracle Worker, and then you have a Commander Tactical Temporal Operative. So ship-wise, it just does fine. You can put anything you want on this, it'll do fine. But what I love about this ship, and I just said it at the beginning of this video, I am a Torp captain. The actual trait on this is ridiculous. So it's called the Rapid Emitting Armaments, or what we call the Re-trait. Upon reaching level 6 in the Starship Master, you will unlock the Rapid Emitting Armaments trait for all characters on your account. While the trait is slotted, when you activate Tractor Beam, you fire 3 heavy plasma torpedoes at your target and gain bonus torpedo damage for short duration. So yes, that helps a lot of my sort of non-on-screen accurate torpedo builds when I try to go quote-unquote meta, or at least for peak performance is what I can do. And this thing hits hard. So hard that if you're too close to the target when this goes off, you will actually what we call re-yourself and or you kill yourself. So I probably recommend being at least 3 clicks away from your target when you hit Tractor Beam. I've read myself way too many times, but this trait is absolutely a must for torpedo boats in my opinion. But again, the Derpadex and the Scimitar are just great ships to have in the fleet in my opinion. So that is the second ship or recommendation. The third bundle I should say, so now the third bundle is this, the Legendary Battlecruiser bundle. Now this made me happy like a little cadet out of school. Why? Because the Inquiry was one of my favorite ships, seeing it on screen. The only problem I had with it was its deflector, or lack thereof. I literally just kept calling the deflector on this a barbecue grill because that's all it was. But with this variant, they fixed it. I don't think they actually show it here in this, but when we go to the actual Inquiry here, it is a Legendary Avenger. Now, a lot of captains love the Avenger look on this, but this, for me, why I got it 100%, and it was just literally about the visuals, was because they fixed that deflector from a grilled style to a normal looking deflector. Now, I actually like the beta nacelles that come with this, but really, even performance-wise, it's a great ship. I put a scatter volley ship on this, and it does well. Now, again, it's the same price as the Derpadex bundle, or the Scimitar, or the Romulan bundle. It is the 12,000. So again, that breaks down with the sale to 7,800 or 2,600 each, because you also get a tier 6 ship coupon. And that's kind of how I work it out in my head. Now, I'm going to go back here to the Inquiry. Again, you get to use all the skins here, as you can see. The new Inquiry and then the old Inquiry there. But then you get to mix and match all of that. I literally just love the deflector on the Inquiry. Now, the trait on this isn't that bad as well. Here you go. It is the Ship of the Line Starship trait. There you go. For all your characters. Now, activating an emergency power ability grants increased critical severity for a moderate duration. The bonus stacks partially, improving by an additional amount with each extra stack. Now, there's also the level 5 here, which is pretty cool. Why? Because in the Starship Master, you will unlock the Weapons Hot Deflectors to Full. That is a line Riker used in Picard there when he was up against the Romulan fleet. It's just pretty cool. But the Deflectors to Full and emergency weapon cycle traits, this traits can be found on previous versions of the ship. So you still have that coming along with this ship. So again, a great stand-in trait, placeholder trait until you want to improve it, but the ship alone is pretty good. Now, the other bonus here is you get the legendary Bordesque, or what I call the board. This ship really grew on me pretty quick because it was one of cryptic designs that I fell in love with for the Klingon, because it was so robust and it really did fit the Klingon theme. Now, this ship specifically is great. Why? I love it because it has Commander Engineering Command, so it's a great torpedo boat. But the also secondary is the Lieutenant Commander Intel, so you can get some great torpedo builds on this bad boy. The trait itself, nothing really to write home about, but again, the other skin you get with this is this right here. It's called the Kronos 1 version, which is a flagship look, and I love it. It really does look, it has like a dark grayish, but it has that red all over. But this is also all the variants that you get, and of course I either just use the Bordesque or the Kronos 1. But again, also a great ship, really, in my opinion, along with the Inquiry. The Inquiry, I put a scatter volley build on this, and it did fine in my opinion. So there is that. And the second to last bundle is this, the Legendary First Strike bundle. Now, of course, this comes with an Akira and the Valdor. Again, it is 12,000, so it still applies to this, which with the sale, 7,800. And it also does come with a T6 ship coupon. So again, breaking that down to 3 ships that you can get for this is 2,600 each. Again, less than a 3,000 Zen T6 store ship. So great in my opinion. The Valdor is pretty good. Of course, you get one of the great consoles that comes with a ship, which is the Shield Absorptive Frequency Generator. This console has saved my aft so many times because it really procs a lot, especially if you have a cannon build on this, scatter volley build on this. But this actually does come with a look of the Valdor that was seen on lower decks. So it's, again, nothing to write home about. This is the variance, of course, you get with it. You also do get the Temporal Ops Scorpion Fighter Squadrons, which is pretty cool. I like to sometimes do a little on-screen accuracy scimitar and put these on the actual Simi when I can. But it comes with that. But again, kind of the weaker of the ships in terms of visuals. Performance-wise, it really does fine. It's nothing to write home about. But again, as you can see, it's a 5.2. So again, another candidate for a scatter volley build. You get a Commander Tactical Temp Ops, and then Commander Universal Pilot. Again, nothing to write home about, but the main star of this bundle is this, the legendary Akira. And finally, and we've been asking for this for years, because the first Akira that they came up in T6 was like a pilot ship. That just did not make sense. This is a torpedo boat through and through. I didn't even know until Star Trek Online that the Akira had torpedo launchers on the side of its hull. That's insane. Including the torpedo pod, of course, that you see there, and some torpedo launchers here in the front. But regardless, this bundle again is for 12,000 Zen, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it is, at 12,000 Zen. Same thing applies against 7,800 each and 2,600 for each ship, because you also do get the actual T6 ship coupon there. But with the Akira, two things. You get a new TMP skin, which looks really good, which is the Matsumoto, a TMP era styled looking Akira. I think they did good with that, my opinion. But this thing comes with one of the hardest hitting torpedoes in game. I don't think it actually mentions here, but this comes with a Maelstrom Quantum torpedo launcher. This torpedo hits stupidly hard. It doesn't really say it here, but it's fine. And of course, it also comes with the fighter. Here's all the variants that you get with it. That Maelstrom torpedo just tops the actual list of hitting, like hard hitting torpedoes when you equip it. You can only equip 2 max, but that's all you need in my opinion. So on top of being an Akira lover myself, I fell in love with the ship instantly when I saw it in First Contact. This ship in game is now what I think it should be, because in terms of what it has for BOF stations, it's Commander Engineering Command. And then, of course, the other one is Lieutenant Commander Science Miracle Worker. I would have loved it was just full command, in my opinion. But as long as it has now full command, I am happy. So of the 2 ships in this bundle, the Akira is really the one that shines, in my opinion, because of the TMP skin, which has been a recent rage of Star Trek Online, which I am a fan of. But also, it does come with the Maelstrom Quantum torpedo, which is a great torp in my opinion. So that's the 4th and the last recommendation. Of course, top of the list there is going to be, and always will be, the 10th anniversary bundle. This bundle is like one of the best bundles in game, in my opinion, when you just break it down to ships and getting bang for your Zen. Now, for those who know, I also do have a PlayStation console account, and one of my crowning moments was to be able to get this bundle on that account literally for free. And it took me 2 years, maybe less than 2 years, to get all the Zen I required to get this. But as you can see, it comes with all the hero ships here, and it's just a great bundle, because if you go for, there's 2 types of bundles here. It's the standard Starship bundle, and then of course the premium. I don't really recommend the premium because that's a lot more. I would rather recommend the standard, because it's just the ships and ship slots and of course all the console traits that you get for each of the legendary ship, because that does break down to 19,500 for the bundle, but each ship comes out to 1,950. Again, way less than the standard 3,000 per C-store ship. And of course, this is all, of course, account unlock. I can't really say more beautiful things, better things about, good things about this bundle. And of course, what you get with this is the KT Connie, the Odyssey. Of course, that's great, and I love it that it's command of the KT Connie. There's an Intel. The Odyssey is command, so that's great. And of course, now it has been updated to the Picard skin, so that's also just wonderful. You get the Temporal Ops Escort, which is the NX. The Legendary Miracle Worker Assault Cruiser, or the Sovereign. This, in my opinion, should have been a 5-3. So we're still pushing for a 5-3. You get this, which is probably the weakest, in my opinion, in the bundle. But again, it is the hero ship. Unfortunately, this does not get the refit skin, the future skin of this ship. That's why I don't really use this ship as much. I use it a couple times in some support runs, but that's about it. But again, there are a lot of captains who are a fan of this, and you get this in this bundle. You get, of course, the Legendary Miracle Worker Intrepid. Great ship, in my opinion. And what the great thing about this is you actually get the Warship Voyager skin. That is smexy, in my opinion. Now, with the other ones, and I kind of mess with this here, you do get the visual going back to the KT Connie. Not my favorite, to be honest, the refit. Of course, the Odyssey comes with the initial design, which actually was won in a contest, which got the ship in the game. For the NX, you actually do get another TMP style ship. Sorry, I'm just backtracking. I forgot to go over the skins here, which is, this looks really good, in my opinion. Of course, coming back to the Sovereign, you just kind of get a darker looking Sovereign. Nothing really. It is just post-Nemesis looking Sovereign, which is just kind of a darker one. It looks almost, but you get a lot of the skins there. Again, with the refit, you get the one that has the Glen. Again, not my favorite, in my opinion. Back to the Voyager with the Warship Voyager. Of course, you get the Temporal Flight Deck Carrier from Strange New Worlds. This ship is smexy. What I love about this, in terms of its visuals, you get the Beta nacelles, which is actually the straight pylons, which I prefer more, in my opinion. The swept back just throws me off because, of course, if we go through the timeline, the swept back didn't actually come until after the original TMP series. So this actually works better for me, in my opinion, which I really think this is what they should have had in the first place. So great ship, in my opinion, still. Love it. And of course, with these ships, with the Legendary Flight Deck Carrier, you get some really good looking blue phasers that come with this. So there is another thing there too, so keep that in mind. You get the Legendary Miracle Worker Light Cruiser. A lot of captains lost their ever-loving mind over this ship being alone. So if you're, of course, an original TOS fan, well, you have her. But you get the Phase 2 Connie, which this is a ship that one of my characters main. And I love this version better. I was never a fan. I know I'm going to get really schwacked in the comments there. But I never was a fan of this skin. This definitely was awesome. I loved this. This was much more modern looking skin for the Connie, in my opinion. And of course, you get the Legendary Pilot Warship, which is awesome. Now you get pilot maneuvers with this ship, but with this, you also get some wicked nose art, which you can see there. And my favorite is definitely the one with the teeth there, but you also get the Klingon one. You get some sort of collective punishment, so that's pretty cool, like a Borg reference. You get a Bug Zapper, and then a Demon Slayer. But my favorite is the actual nose art that they're showing here. Why? Because there's like a image out there online that there's like a animated looking Defiant, and I love how they just slap that on here. And again, this is a legend. This is a pilot, so you actually get the pilot maneuvers, and it feels great to fly this in all honesty. And of course, last but not least, the Galaxy. Captains, you know this is the ship that hooked me onto Star Trek, and you get this in this bundle, and it's a command ship, so that is great. Now in terms of its variants, you get the Ross class. Now this Ross class was of course now canon because it was shown in Star Trek Picard. Did I show? Yes, I did. So that is that. A lot of people are wanting this variant to not be kind of locked behind this bundle, but unfortunately if you want this look, you're gonna have to get the legendary 10th anniversary bundle so that you can get the Galaxy look. So this is a pretty cool updated Galaxy look in my opinion. Love the nacelles. I just wish the actual pylons here weren't as curved and maybe just more straight. The nacelles look great in my opinion. Deflector looks more Sovereign-esque, but it is a great looking Galaxy. But of course, we know what skin we're going to be using, Captains, which is of course the Galaxy class. And having it command, you can do it as a torpedo boat build and or a tank. That's how versatile this ship is. So again, the overall bundle is just the top recommendation when it comes to any of the bundles in Star Trek Online. But that is my top 5 picks for the legendary bundles. Great timing in terms of, well, we decided to do this video because of the 35% sale, and even if the sale is over, this is still my top 5 recommendations when it comes to the legendary bundle. So Captains, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the 2 ECs, or maybe a lot of ECs that we dropped in this. So do us a favor, hit the like button, comment below, let us know if you picked up a bundle here and or what your recommendation is to other Captains when it comes to the legendary bundle sales. And of course, if you're new here, consider subscribing to the YouTube bridge, and we'll leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.